On this episode, we put the interior back together.
Testimony and it changed my life for real. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Like I said, originally when we got the car, the driver's and passenger's window were broken. They were all in, it was just cracked. Someone tried to break in or something happened. They were just not there. But since then, we have put in some windows on both sides. Just some wrecker windows, but they did the job. So we can finally put this door card back on. Before I do that, I need to put the cover for my imaginary speakers back on. If you're wondering why I haven't put a plastic film within the door card, that is because I plan on upgrading the speakers or putting some in, and therefore I will put some film in when I do that. So we've gotten this on, but there's a few things in the boot that I can't find, but they're gonna be there, but there's just so much junk in the back. But like there's like the little reflectors missing, the speaker covers missing, but apart from that, everything's there. But there's gonna be a few things that we're gonna be able to put on, but not completely finish until we go through everything in the boot. So slowly but surely we'll get there, because all this stuff in the boot is just absolutely everywhere, and it's really crap, but we'll get through it slowly. I don't want to pull everything out, but we'll just slowly see what we can find. On this one, the interior goes around sort of like a Supra, which is sort of weird, but I suppose that's where it got it from, in a way. I don't know, but this is the one on there, and it's missing I don't know if it's a dimmer or something, but it's missing this guy here. So I ended up buying this off a wrecked GT4, which has that little nozzle on it. So we will be pulling this out, and again, this looks like it's ripped it out. So I don't know, someone was stealing this, whoever put the screwdriver in or whatever, had ripped this out as well. I don't know, there's just so many things that don't make sense. But anyway, we're gonna rip this out and put this guy in there, and that will be this half done. Then we can move on to the other side and check all that. An R34 dash is a lot easier than this, by the way. We're trying to find the plug for this guy here, and I've opened the bottom up here just to have a good look, and all we can find is multiple plugs that don't go anywhere. So I don't know what they're for or where they're from, so we're gonna have to leave this one for another time and double check where everything goes, because the speedo or the tacho, something doesn't work here. I think the temperature gauge or something, so one of these plugs might be it. So this is going to be another job for another day, because this is a big job, but we'll continue and finish more of the interior off and go from there. Yes. Finally. So there are a lot of tiny screws, like little clips and stuff that are missing, that even our clip kit won't even help because they're so tiny. But in the center and in here, like, we got some cool Will Smith and we got some other weird stuff, but we have like piles and piles of stuff in here, which is really annoying to go through. But if we can just get all this stuff on, at least then we can. This is me trying to teach a lot of people how to build a car when I don't even know myself, thinking that all the parts are pre-sorted in the boot, ready to go in their places, and I don't have to do any other pre-sorting. But I definitely need to figure it all out. So don't be like this curly head guy, be like this curly head guy. So it's the next day, and basically I ran into a few issues where I was finishing things like the door card and a few interior pieces, and every time I went to the boot I was like, alright, cool, I've gotten all the bits from that area, but I had another look and I found a heap more little things like this that was actually jammed underneath the seat. So then I had a look at the other seat and I found a bracket for the intercooler. So I found a heap more parts that should have been in the boot that I thought were in the boot, but they weren't. So behind the camera I've gone through everything, sorted everything. I even went through all the screws that were in the glove box and center and sorted them all out into their own compartments, and I've even found out where some of them go. So I learnt a big lesson here. If you've got a car like this that needs a full like resto of parts, sort them out. Sort them all out before you start putting things in their places, well, where you thought they went. So I found these little guys that replaced where the accessories buttons were. So that's what I thought all these cables were for, all these plugs were for. But the other thing I did was research. Do your research. Do it, because I found out so much about this Celica. Like, there is so many different tiny details that come in each model that is actually quite interesting. But with this model, here's me thinking that all these plugs and stuff were for accessories, but these guys actually just plugged in where the accessories buttons would have been. So it doesn't have any accessories. And I went and bought this surround thinking that I would need this dimmer because mine didn't have it, but it turns out that my model didn't even come with it. So I just wasted some money and a lot of time trying to put this in, trying to find a plug that doesn't exist, when actually it's just a piece of plastic that pushes in there and covers it up. Yes, I wasted a lot of time on that. But at least I know. And the reason why there is a heap of plugs in there and random bits of loom is because the original ignition that used to be in there had a lot of plugs going to it, but ours has had a bit of a thrashing to it because someone tried stealing this car once upon a time or something along those times. But yeah, it's pretty bad. But yeah, all those plugs go to this big ignition system, and that's why there's heaps of them just left there, and that is also why we did put a push button start in, because yeah, the ignition was so gone. But the push button start, we don't know if we're going to leave that in there for now, but that's another story. But at least we know that where a lot of things go now from research and looking where all the parts are. So now we get to start the satisfying part of putting things together. Let's do it. Now that I did some research, looks like I no longer need that surround piece. What a waste of money that was. Until I figure out whether I'm going to keep the push button start or replace the ignition system, I'll keep these guys bundled together. When you have a vehicle that requires a lot of parts, this is the best way to stay organised. A simple label can change everything. Well, that's what I learnt anyway, to be a bit organised, I think. Gotta love that dimmer, eh? So the best part about a car like this is that they all have a basic front-wheel drive non-turbo version, especially in the Celica. So the Celicas come with an SX front-wheel drive non-turbo version, which is just no extras, really basic, which is awesome because, well, in the Celicas anyway, because the inside and the outside are super similar, basically the same. The only differences that I found, which was actually quite interesting, was just the door cards, the seats, the bonnet, like, and tiny things in the interior, but everything, like literally everything, was interchangeable, which is awesome. So I could go to any non-turbo basic model Celica and get any part for super cheap and put it straight in my GT4, which is awesome, saving a lot of money. Sort of like the GTRs and the R34s, same sort of story. You can just get any part and put it on. So let's go put some more parts on. did you see how much crap was in the boot? It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But I've cleared some of it out so that we can just continue on the interior side. This side seems to be complete. Again, there's just tiny little things, but everything's in here. That dash mat's a bit how you're going, but we might be able to figure that out. But we also do have that boost gauge that's mounted to the dash, which is a bit, I'm not too sure about that, but that's something we'll figure out again when we start doing some engine work, like checking everything out, no building anything. But anyway, we'll move into the back. Jeez, that was hard, because I'm going to flip the seats up. Oh. And they're actually really clean, but I'm pretty sure we did clean this a bit ago. But when we did get it, none of the seat belts were actually bolted in, and the front two seats weren't bolted in either, but we have done that since we've owned the car, because we wanted to test drive it a bit, and you need seat belts and you need a bolted in seat. But everything in the back, I think I just broke that, but again, things need clipping in properly, not like that. But now we got the back seats up, which do need a clip in the back, which we'll just double check. And the original floor mats are actually here too, which I completely forgot about. So we'll continue working in the back, double check everything, but the interior is almost done. Don't worry, my small arms did reach it in the end. But it is quite amazing how many tiny bits of the interior were just completely missing or in the boot or just simply taken off. So many mysteries about this car. Like, I wish we knew what happened, when it happened, why it happened, but we never will find out, unfortunately. Is it sad that I just realised that that was upside down? So, now that the interior is basically done, it's time to, oh no, whoopsies. It's time to work on putting the wing on. Now, for some reason when we got the car, when it had all the crap just everywhere, this was wrapped up really nicely in packaging, and yeah, we don't know why. So this is the first time I'm actually going to unwrap this. Apparently the paint's really good, the last guy said, and I don't know, for some reason they just decided to take it off and take care of this out of everything else in the car. Weird people. I don't know what colour this is going to be, so here it goes. It's actually not the best condition, which I sort of figured, but it's still the factory colour, which is awesome. but it's actually pretty scraped up, but I didn't help just bang it on the ground either. So, but yeah, we'll put this guy on. It's got the brake light there and a bit of wiring, which is awesome. So let's put it on. Although the car is getting a full respray in future, I do want to make sure that everything fits properly and that nothing is missing. For a small wing, it looks so good, and we even got the brake light to work. So, the wing looks super good, fits perfectly, no dramas there. But as we were putting this on, we noticed that these wings that sort of help the look of the wing, the side wings are just completely sitting here. I thought they were in. They looked like they were in, but it wasn't until I sort of touched them that they really moved. And this one is actually cracked. And then when I pulled it out, there was like no plastic bits for it to be in there properly. So there was a fair bit missing there, which sucks. And this is for both sides. So both sides aren't even in properly. So luckily we ran into this, because I could have been driving and it could have just flown off one day. But luckily, from the wrecker's car that I have been getting a lot of the parts from, I got this. Complete replacement. No cracks, no nothing. So I'll put this on. Even though it's white, it'll get sprayed. I already got a red boot, so it doesn't really matter. So put this on, put some extra plastic bits on the other side, get them in properly, and then this will be done. So we've gotten the interior basically done, the wing on. It's been pretty satisfying just putting things in and they go on. But the only issue with the exterior interior sort of thing that we've been working on lately is this window. So for some reason it just wasn't in at all. So we think that maybe someone's, when they were trying to steal the car, but it's not broken, so it doesn't make sense. But there's no screws that were holding it in at all. So we've got some screws and we've got some stuff to put it back in. So let's get to it. Let's put this window in. I've never done it before, but we're going to give it a solid go. Before installing any window, you need to remove the old, dirty, disgusting sealant that used to hold in the original window. Weirdly enough, we found that some WD-40 and an old scourer pad seemed to clean up the window really well. Now it's time to clean the window itself. Got to make sure both surfaces are super clean. If you don't want any water on your lap when it rains, make sure you spread the sealant evenly around the window. She's all in. It's my first time ever doing a window install. It was a bit interesting, learnt a lot. But she sits in real flush, the screws on the back are helping it stay in. But now that that's done, we're just gonna let this settle. But yeah, now that that's done, the interior's all done. The exterior is basically done, like we put the wing on. Obviously it does need a clean and a paint job, and there's a few dents and stuff like that, but that'll be all sorted when it goes off the paint. But there, we've done so much, but the last bit that needs doing is the engine stuff. So stay tuned, because next time we're going to finish everything off and conclude with the engine. See you then. Next time I finally put that oil cap on. I put all the little bits in, I finally put some big bits on, I sand some things, and I paint some things, I also drill some things, and I give her a full service. See you next time on Calamari.
Oh. The sound of the paint booth falling apart.